So there's a lot of corruption behind it too. It's not only, I don't think, yeah, corruption. I think that's such a big word, and there's so much into that. But I see the corruption.
We've
I think we
allowed
all
we've
do.
allowed corruption to drive a lot of evil because we've agreed to centralize a lot of our society,
Hmm.
and I mean centralized power, political power, centralized media,
Hmm.
which media has a lot of power as well, centralized businesses. I mean, look what happened after 2020. 30% of all
Yeah.
independently run businesses went bankrupt and
Hmm.
have not restarted. 1/3. Amazon, for the first time in history, a company, Amazon, in 2020, 2021, grossed more than $1 billion, with a B, billion dollars per day. One
Per
bill.
day.
Amazon was the most successful corporation in US history in 2020, 2021. And why? Because we didn't allow people to buy things outside of Amazon, because we had to get stuff delivered to our house. 1 billion gross per day in sales. Never happened before in United States history. Now, was that because Amazon suddenly, between 2019 and 2020, 2021, suddenly became a great company offering wonderful value and excellent customer service, and everyone else stopped serving their customers? No, this was forced on us by a corrupt media, a corrupt government, and really corrupt politicians.
Politicians, yes,
This
amen.
is how this happened. And we haven't really recovered from this. We haven't recovered from the lockdown era. We've recovered in the sense that we're now out and about, but I don't think psychologically we've recovered. We economically haven't recovered. We haven't recovered developmentally with the children, educationally. Everything has continued to suffer. And I think that there's still a holdover effect of this fear and this attack on courage, attack on risk-taking. We're entrenched in the fear mindset, the compliance mindset that I'll do whatever I need to do to avoid pain,
Yeah.
as opposed to taking risks and doing good. And we don't have a lot of people available to do that anymore, because all the people that were courageous, that were taking risks, the independent businesses, they're all gone.
There.
So everything is consolidated. And I think when you centralize and consolidate anything at all, bad outcomes. And I think we are more consolidated and centralized on all these fields I just mentioned than any other time in US history. So presumably, the solution would be to break all of this up, to decentralize, to put power back to communities, whether it's education, parenting, politics, media. We need to break stuff up, because when you don't have competition and you have a centralization of power, you wind up getting really dictatorship. You wind up getting rules coming from on high that enforce edicts that do not benefit the population. You don't have the benefit of 300 million minds all acting independently but in concert. You have 1, 2, 10, 20, maybe 100 minds,
Hmm.
which is way, way, way
Hmm.
less, all making decisions for us. And you can see the outcome of this. You just look around and just look what's happening to our country. You don't have to even watch the news. You just walk around your streets and just see how the
Yeah.
decay has taken over in the
Okay,
last 4 years.
and just children being brainwashed all the time. You had
Yeah.
posted something about homeschooling. Are you a fan of homeschooling?
I didn't used to be. I used to be actually very suspicious of it. I thought it was for crazy moms.
I'm one of those crazy moms, I think.
Well, let me
I
tell you how
love homes. I mean, my son's in
totally
private
changed.
school, but yeah, tell me. What?
I after the schools closed
Mhm.
in 2020, 2021, and I had 1, then 2, then 3 of my patients commit suicide. Well,
No.
I should say commit suicide. They experimented with drugs and died of fentanyl poisonings, but they were also depressed and anxious while they were at the safer at home policy by Eric Garcetti, our former LA mayor
Mhm.
here. After I saw that happening, that really woke me up. Kids need to be in school. But when I say in school, I mean in a school that is not turning them into transgendered mutants. So I was really for kids going back to school. But what I realized was that when kids were going back to school finally after the openings, yeah, they were safe in the sense that they weren't dying of fentanyl overdoses, at least not as frequently as they were at home. But they were completely, and still are, completely, utterly indoctrinated by ideals pushed on them by teachers that are ordered by the California Teachers Union,
Fear.
the National Teachers Association. Exactly. If they don't teach XYZ, then they will lose their job. They will be fired. And that means gay pride, transgenderism. America is a racist country. Men are toxic. Girls can do no wrong. Religion is horrible. You don't have to eat and sleep and eat well to be happy. In fact, the fatter you are, the better. Fat pride. So you get all of this horrible, unhealthy.
Normalizing all these
It's a
unhealthy
normalization.
things. Yes.
Exactly. They've normalized everything that's bad. They've removed the civic culture of school. And so I don't think in public schools today, certainly not in LA County, and this is true in a lot of parts of urban America, I don't think it's even remotely possible to do well and to do right by your child by keeping them in school. So when parents come in and they say, I'm having a real horrible time here, Dr. McDonald, my kids had to wear masks, they had to get these injections, and I said no, but now they're back, and they're still, the teachers are acting really strange, and they're teaching them all this garbage about boys can be girls, girls can be boys, and pronoun changes, and gay pride, and there's no American flags in the schools, and I'm not a conservative, I'm not even a Republican, but I just don't like this. This is wrong. This isn't what I grew up with. What should I do? And I tell them, look, you may not like this, but getting back to truth, this is the truth. You must, if you want to be a good parent and you want to have your child grow up to be a good adult, you must take your child out of school and homeschool your child, period. Now, if you find by some act of God an excellent private school in your area or a charter school, and they do exist, there's not many, but there are a few. There are a few. If you're in that category, great. But if not, and that's most people, you must homeschool your child. Whether that means you have to quit your job, go part-time, lose one income, move perhaps to an area that's cheaper, downsize, whatever it takes, you have to do that. Because if you don't, in a few years, you're going to look back and say, oh my God, my child is a wreck